Sir, I want to, first of all, thank you for a very interesting and provocative lecture. I have a two-part strategic question, which as a military man, I'm sure you are going to appreciate. The first you may have already touched on, and the second I think has not been touched on. The first part is why, with the insurgency growing within Pakistan, that you committed so much military resources to the Indian conflict, which at that point was relatively dormant. And the second part of the question is, moving forward, what do you think the effect will be on the region of India, of Pakistan and Afghanistan if the United States pulls back from its current activity and goes to an air power only type of strategy?
First, about resources being put against India, is that the first part of your question? Well, military, first of all, there is a lot of talk in the West that the military equipment given to Pakistan for Taliban is used against the Indians or moved against that border. This is a lack of understanding of our organization. Any equipment from wherever it comes is given to the regiments within the Pakistan army, tanks or guns or whatever. The equipment is held by the regiments of Pakistan army. These regiments, if they are serving in their tribal agencies, they move after 1 year. And they can be sent anywhere in Pakistan, from the eastern border to the western border, to the south, to the north, to the mountains. And if they are serving on the eastern border, other than FATA, every 3 to 4 years, the regiments rotate. So therefore, there is nothing like leaving that equipment in the mountains because it's only meant for the Taliban. The regiment owns that equipment and the equipment goes wherever the regiment goes. So this is one point that I wanted to make. The other is, as far as India is concerned, yes indeed, when you see Pakistan's military strategy is a strategy of deterrence. We see what is the threat and from which direction that threat is coming. These days, the threat is from terrorism and extremism. Therefore, all the force possible ought to be used against terrorism and extremism. But if tomorrow a country is telling Pakistan that we need to punish you, we'll go for surgical strikes, we need to teach you a lesson, we need to attack you, what does Pakistan do? It has to use force to ensure its own security. And we must not grudge that. So that is how Pakistan's forces are deployed and the forces and equipment is used. The other element, if the United States was only to confine itself to air bombardment, I think, sir, here the issue is to dominate territory. If you lose the domination of territory, then the Taliban and Al-Qaeda will reign supreme. Air cannot ensure domination of territory. Domination of territory will only come about by forces on land. So therefore, it will be a very big mistake if we were only to confine ourselves to the air.
Yes, sir. Excuse me if I skip the formalities in favor of brevity, but you spoke about nuclear power in your speech, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on nuclear proliferation, if you believe it should be allowed or if you believe measures should be taken to stop it, and if you believe measures should be taken to stop it, what measures are acceptable ethically and morally?
Yeah, you're asking about nuclear proliferation that
yes,
happened
sir.
In the past?
In the future.
In the future, yeah. I'll differentiate. Yes, Pakistan is accused of proliferating in the past, but let me clarify that till 98, there was a cut line. Before 98, Pakistan's nuclear program was covert, was highly secret, top secret, where financial and security authority, autonomy was given to the science organizations which were developing the assets, and therefore the possibility of an irregular personality proliferating. But beyond that, after 1998, as I said, we have brought about, introduced custodial controls of developing the assets, controls and checks over the science organizations, and then controls over the holding of those assets, which I've explained through the Army Strategic Force Command. And I don't see any way of any further proliferation going on in Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for taking my question. My question is based on the fact that us as humans are all capable and we all make mistakes. So based on that, looking back at the last 10 years, since 1999 when you took over the reins of the country, if you had to do everything all over again, is there anything that you would do differently? Second chances.
Well, let me there was a vast agenda that we followed in 1999 when I saw that Pakistan was almost being declared a failed state and a defaulted state. When I looked at Pakistan, what all has to be done, we formulated an agenda which was all-inclusive, all issues of governance were included, and I had a 7-point plan also. And I said, as I said, I went into this definition of ensuring the security, progress and development of the state, welfare, well-being of its people. And then I converted this into actual actions in various fields. Now what mistakes I made or what I would like to do differently, I think I addressed every issue of Pakistan under the sun. But my failure, if I was to admit, was in the degree of success that maybe I did not achieve. In many areas, I achieved major successes. In some areas, I did not achieve much success. But I did address them. I did make goals and set a strategic direction towards the accomplishment of the goals. Though the failure was in moving towards those goals. But I don't think I committed blunders which should not have been done at all. Having said that, yes indeed, the downfall or the negative started in 2007 when I moved against, I when the government sent a reference against the Chief Justice to me, and I forwarded it to the Supreme Judicial Council. From then onwards, a lawyers' movement got politicized, and that was what then started snowballing into negative effects, etc., and then whatever happened. But if I was to ask whether I did something wrong there, everything that I did was very constitutional and very legal. But when we see the results of what happened, one has doubts, maybe I shouldn't have done whatever was right even. So that much maybe I will have to admit.